It's officially flea and tick season, but how do you know if your dog has fleas? And what can you do about it if they do? Let's bark about it. Welcome back to Alpha Paw, your destination for everything dog. I'm Bernie Zilio, and I'm on a mission to answer every doggone question you've ever had about your fur babies. And today we're talking about how to know whether your dog has fleas and what to do about it. Fortunately, we have an expert with us today, Dr. Ross Bernstein. Dr. Ross is a seasoned veterinary professional and pet care expert. He earned his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine at UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, and his work has been featured in several industry-leading publications, including the Journal of Veterinary Surgery. He's our go-to vet for everything we want and need to know about our fur babies. So welcome back to Alpha Paw, Dr. Ross.
Hey, Bernie. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Now,
my pleasure.
Oh my gosh, love it. Okay, so this is a topic that I couldn't talk about myself with any authority if I tried, because you're the professional and you probably have more experience seeing dogs with fleas than anybody else. So we're here to talk about how to spot fleas on our dogs. So depending on where you live, the most prevalent season for fleas and ticks is spring and summer. So roughly between May and September. Now, obviously, nobody wants a dog with fleas, but people who let their dogs sleep in their beds or be on their furniture probably want their dogs with fleas even less. So Dr. Ross, what are some symptoms of fleas that we should be looking out for?
If your dog is scratching and itching, if you put a belt around their torso or their belly area, and you were going to describe is they're itching most of the time on their front half of their body or on their back half of the body, if they have fleas, it's 99% of the time on the back 50% of their body. So that's clue number one. Clue number two, when they have fleas, or more specifically flea allergy dermatitis, shortened as FAD, they often will chew their caudal dorsum area of their back. So that's towards the back, right on top, like kind of where their tail base is. So the caudal means back, dorsum is on their back. So it's a flattish area, the easiest spot if they turn around and just start nibbling. So if you see them chewing at that area a lot, it could be flea allergy dermatitis. That's usually where they start chewing if they have that condition.
Interesting. I didn't know any of this. Okay, so those are ways to tell if your dog's already itching and you think something's up, you think they might have fleas. Can you actually spot the fleas on your dog?
Yeah, you don't always spot them, but certainly you can. If, like I was saying, in the caudal dorsum or the lower back area right above their tail, you can certainly see them there. Sometimes it's easiest to see them in parts of their body that are less populated with hair. So like on their belly, for example, if they rolled over. But, sometimes if they have fleas or the flea allergy dermatitis, you don't always see the fleas. Sometimes people think they're itching, they give them baths. So you can wash off the adult fleas, or fleas, they jump around. You might not even see them. Or sometimes your dogs are grooming themselves and they eat them. And so you don't always see the fleas. But that doesn't mean that they weren't bitten by fleas. Kind of like a mosquito can bite us and then fly away and you don't actually ever see it.
Right. Okay. So this kind of leads me to my next question. So I assume just bathing your dog is not good enough to get rid of the fleas. Is that right?
Most of the time, no. So the fleas, they can come and bite. And if your dog is allergic to fleas, and it would be the saliva in the flea bite, all it takes is one bite for them to get that allergic reaction. And then they can start biting and chewing, and it can be really bad for some dogs that are very reactive to it. But the bathing them can get rid of a lot of the adult fleas, but a lot of their eggs, or not the adult stages, they can stick to the hairs, and maybe you're not completely getting them off. That's the first point. Second point is 95% of fleas are actually in the environment. And so just washing your dog does not do anything to their environment. And so they'll still be in the bed, still be on the blankets, still be in the carpet. So you need to clean your house, do some laundry.
I was going to say, so do I have to burn the house down and then move? Or because it sounds
I guess that's up to you.
Miserable. let's get back to some basics. What do fleas look like, first of all, so that we know what to look for if they are visible on our dogs?
They are little, tiny, brownish insects that are pretty fast. They are going to be weaving through your dog's hair. And sometimes if you squish them, there will be a little bit of blood inside them. But they do jump a lot. So you got to be quick. But they can also bite you. So just be careful because they can cause itchy bites in you as well.
I thought fleas was like a harmless thing about, some dogs get it and you're making me feel like I need to run for the hills. No, I'm just kidding. It's good to have this conversation because I think flea preventatives are very important and people just assume it's like, oh, not very necessary, but sounds like it is. So before we get to the flea preventatives, in doing my research, I wanted to ask you, I've heard that there's fleas and then there's flea dirt. So what exactly is flea dirt?
Flea dirt is the poop, basically, the elimination product after the flea has bitten your dog, sucked some blood, and then pooped it out. It's basically digested blood. And sometimes you don't see the fleas, kind of like I was talking about before. You don't see the fleas, but you can see the flea dirt. It's basically evidence that there's fleas over there. And if you wanted to make sure, you can take some of that dirt, put it on a white background like a napkin or a piece of paper and add some water to it. And if it changes from this black brownish color to a red, it's probably flea dirt. If your dog is biting and scratching, you find some of this flea dirt on them and they're not on a flea preventative, chances are that that's flea dirt and you should have your pet evaluated by a veterinarian to get them feeling better as soon as possible.
Totally. And that sounds, oh my God, that sounds miserable. I'm like itching just thinking about it. Oh, now we touched upon preventatives. So I wanted to get from you, a veterinarian, what is the best way to prevent fleas in our dogs?
Having them on year-round veterinary recommended flea preventatives is the best way. There'll be a lot of at-home remedies, some of which can be very dangerous, actually. Like you might read online about garlic or onions or bathing your dog in that. And actually that's very dangerous because if your dog turns around and starts licking that, they can get very sick. Other things like flea shampoos, those can help your dog have like a soothing effect on their hair and coat, but it doesn't do anything to the actual flea infestation. So they're going to need to be on a flea preventative that kills the fleas when they either come in contact with that medication or that ingredient is circulating in your dog's blood. And when the flea gets a meal from your dog, it's in that blood and then it kills them.
Interesting. Okay. So we're talking about an oral preventative, right?
There are oral flea preventatives like tablets or pills. There are also topical medications that they can do that you squeeze out on a packet somewhere on their skin that they're not going to lick off. I generally tend to recommend the oral ones because then if you know they take it orally, then they've gotten it. You don't need to worry about it. Whereas some of the topical ones, a lot of dogs are very hairy or fluffy. You don't know if you fully got it on their skin. You can also give them a bath the next day and it all washes off. They can roll around, rub it off on the carpet or in the grass. And you just want to make sure that they get all of it.
Totally. And just as a personal anecdote, I have a very fluffy dog and he enjoys running around outside and God knows what gets in his hair. So for me personally, I think it gives me peace of mind giving him a once a month tablet. I crush it up into his food. He doesn't know the difference. I have a little reminder on my phone. It's the easiest thing in the world. And I just imagine if my dog were to get fleas at any given time, listen, we have enough stresses to worry about, so let's not make this one of them.
If they have fleas and then they get flea allergy dermatitis and they're biting and chewing themselves, then they can get secondary infections. They can chew themselves raw. Sometimes they bite so much there that they even grind down and wear their teeth away.
Ooh.
We don't want to get them to the stage where they need hundreds of dollars worth of wound care and antibiotics on top of managing the fleas. So that's why getting them on a flea preventative. And if you know your dog is going to be one of those that's susceptible to allergies, then I would have them on year-round flea prevention.
Totally. I could not agree more. Well, Again, Dr. Ross, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for this helpful information. If you guys have any additional questions or comments or concerns, please go ahead and drop them down in the comment section below. Again, I'm Bernie Zilio, and this is Alpha Paw. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single doggone episode, and we'll see you next time.